As long as the civilized world has existed, people have been keen to explore and push themselves to the limit of human endurance. Why else would these men suffer the hardships of icebergs, stormy seas, and temperatures down to -30 or 40 degrees across the Antarctic Ocean in order to reach the South Pole? Young Ernest Shackleton was one of these brave men. He was born in Ireland in 1874 and dreamt of a life at sea as a boy. His family was quite well off, so he was able to fulfill his ambition. Shackleton joined Scott as one of the leading men both on the Discovery and Nimrod expeditions, and came within 100 miles of the South Pole. The desire to be in charge and do something never accomplished before was strong, and in August 1914, Sir Ernest and a crew of 27 set sail aboard the Endurance bound for the South Atlantic. Their goal was to be the first men to walk across Antarctica from one coast to the other, where the ship Aurora would be waiting for them. The captain was Frank Worsley, and the Australian photographer Frank Hurley was also recruited. His expertise and knowledge made this expedition world famous. He filmed and took pictures under the most horrendous situations. They left Argentina on October 26th, heading for South Georgia. Life on board was quite busy. The usual chores, scientific research and repairs had to be done. They also had 69 Canadian sledge dogs to care for. The dogs were fed on pemmican, which is a concentrated meal consisting of lean meat mixed with fat. This combination of fat and protein is just what's needed in cold regions. The polar explorers themselves also ate this, often made into a chewy biscuit, and could be eaten at any time. The Endurance arrived in South Georgia on November the 5th, 11 days after leaving Buenos Aires. The men were warmly received by the people in charge of a Norwegian whaling station, and the crew could enjoy a well-earned rest and admire the wildlife on this rugged island. On December 5th, the ship steamed out of Grytviken, well provided with food and fuel, and for the next 6 weeks, the Endurance worked its way cautiously south, hoping to make it through the pack ice, which appeared to be forming earlier than usual that year. At midnight on January 24, 1915, an opening appeared in the ice, and the crew worked for hours to free the ship, which had become stuck, but to no avail. They were only 80 miles from the bay where the walk across Antarctica was due to begin. The idea of spending a winter stuck on board an icebound ship is extremely unpleasant, remarked Frank Hurley. The month of March opened with a blizzard and temperatures of -8 Fahrenheit. The plan had been that Shackleton and a few men should start a journey with the dog sledges in the spring, and the ship returned to winter quarters. But instead they were all stranded, surrounded by ice and snow, and the Endurance was in danger of being crushed. A tent camp called Patience was set up near the stricken ship, and some sort of routine was established. Shackleton was a kind but firm leader, and well respected and liked by everybody. Time passed and the daily routine continued, but the crew could only watch helplessly as the ship was totally crushed by the ice. The day was the 19th of October 1915. The men camped on the ice for 5 months, but moved from floe to floe as their present home became unstable. They had 3 heavy lifeboats to drag along, and the cold, hunger, and uncertain future nearly drove them mad. By late March 1916, it became obvious they would soon have to leave their icy home and take to the boats and the unknown. But one dreadful task remained. All the dogs had to be shot, as there was no room for them in the boats. On April 9th, the 27 men, with only the necessary equipment, set off across the rough sea. After 5 horrendous days, when they almost gave up all hope, Elephant Island was spotted, and for the moment they were relatively safe. After a few days on this desolate outcrop, as far from civilization as one can get, it became clear no one would come to the rescue. Shackleton picked 5 of the most able men to accompany him on the arduous journey to South Georgia to get help. It took them 16 days to cover the 850 miles in an open lifeboat. Frank Wilde was left in charge of Elephant Island. After waving goodbye to the men, they settled down, killed seal and penguins for food, and tried to stay alive and not freeze to death. Frank Hurley continued to take his wonderful pictures. It was 4 months before the men on Elephant Island were saved. Winter ice and a lack of suitable ships due to World War I slowed the rescue operation. It was finally a small Chilean boat called the Yelko that made a pickup. The stranded men went crazy with excitement when they saw the little ship approach, with Shackleton himself aboard. When the boat neared, Shackleton stood up, calling, "Are you all well?" To which was answered, "All safe, boss, all well." The 27 men survived, a most remarkable feat, and it was said some of them felt a little sad leaving the lonely but beautiful island behind. Although this journey proved to be unsuccessful for Shackleton, he continued his interest in polar exploration. He died in 1922 at age 47 on South Georgia Island in preparation for another trip.